I canceled the credit card I'd co-signed for my brother after the bank called asking why he'd added an authorized user I'd never met. So, my brother Danny is 31 and has basically no credit history because he went through a thing about 4 years ago, some payday loan spiral that wrecked his score. He asked me to co-sign on a card with him so he could start rebuilding. I said fine, but I was clear about the terms. Low limit $2,500, he pays it in full every month, and I get account alerts on everything. He agreed immediately. I should have noticed how fast he agreed. For the first 8 months it was fine. Charges were small. Gas, groceries, a streaming subscription. He'd text me when he made his payment. It honestly felt like we were doing this the right way. Then in November I got a call from the bank. I almost didn't pick up because it showed as a 1-800 number, but I was in my car waiting for coffee so I answered. The woman on the line said she was from the fraud and account management team and asked if I could verify some information. I did. She said, "We're reaching out because a new authorized user was added to your account on October 19th. I'm showing a Marcus Webb. Can you confirm you approve that addition?" I sat there for a second. Marcus Webb. I had no idea who that was. I told her I didn't approve anything and that I didn't know that name. She said the request came through Danny's online portal and that adding an authorized user does require account holder consent. Then she told me Marcus had already run $870 in charges since October 19th. I asked her to put a hold on new charges while I figured out what was going on. She did. I called Danny immediately. He picked up on the second ring, which already felt off because Danny usually lets things go to voicemail when he knows he's wrong. He said, "Hey, what's up?" I said, "Who is Marcus Webb?" Pause. Long one. "He's just a friend. I was helping him out. He needed to build credit, and I thought, Danny, you added someone I've never heard of to an account I'm legally responsible for, without telling me. It's not a big deal. I was going to mention it. He spent $870 in 3 weeks. What is he buying?" Another pause. I don't know, like everyday stuff. I asked him to pull up the statements and tell me what the charges were. He fumbled around for a minute, said he'd have to look later. I told him I was looking right now for my alerts, and I could see a $240 charge at what looked like a furniture rental place, a $190 charge at a vape shop, and a bunch of smaller ones at a bar I didn't recognize. Danny went quiet again, then said, "Look, I'll handle it." Marcus said he'd pay you back, with money he put on my credit, that I co-signed. "You're not gonna get stuck with it, I promise. I'm already stuck with it. That's what co-signing means. That's the whole thing, Danny." He started in on how I was overreacting, how Marcus was trustworthy, how he'd done the same thing for friends before, and it always worked out. I asked him how many other people had access to this account. He said just Marcus. I asked him how he was even sure about that if he didn't know what Marcus was buying or where he was spending. He didn't answer that. I told him I was calling the bank back. He said, "Don't do anything yet. Just let me talk to Marcus and I'll get everything sorted." I gave him until 6 p.m. that day. He didn't call. He texted at 6:47 and said Marcus was going to pay back $500 and they'd work out the rest. A partial negotiation with a stranger whose last name I'd learned 3 hours ago. I called the bank at 7 p.m. and asked what my options were. The rep walked me through it. I could remove the authorized user, which I did immediately, and I could request account closure, which would impact both our credit scores in the short term. I asked what happened if I just let it ride and Danny defaulted. She was diplomatic about it but basically said I'd be fully liable. Same as if I'd made the charges myself. I closed the account. Danny called at 7:22 p.m. while I was making dinner. I let it ring. He called again at 7:45. I answered that one. He said, "Did you close it?" I said yes. "I can't believe you did that. I was handling it. You had from 10 this morning until 6 tonight, and what you handled was asking a stranger to pay back half of what he spent. You just nuked my credit over $870. I told him his credit was going to take the same hit whether I closed it now or he maxed it out with Marcus Webb over the next 3 months, and I got a collections call. He said that wasn't going to happen. I said I didn't know that, and neither did he, and that was actually the whole problem. He told me I never trusted him. I told him I co-signed a card for him, which is about as much trust as I'm capable of extending, and he added a stranger to it without asking me. He hung up. My mom called 2 days later to tell me I was being too hard on him. I asked if she knew who Marcus Webb was. She didn't.